What's up? What's up? Big day ahead of us. A lot of writing to do. A lot of it. But it's gonna be good. I'm hoping for something. I'm hoping for something as deep as this. I think we can do it. The only worry I have with writing this book dialogue is it may encourage me to create opportunities to save new things. The problem is if I save new things, I then have to put in some usage of them, or I feel obligated to in some ways. And I don't really want to have to refactor all of the dialogue for that. Now, working on Spoon has taught me a lot about how to do this without having to go back and change things too many times, which we have had to do. Learning process, right? Alright. Let's just jump in. Big day. I read that book you gave me, the one about stenches and spoons. Okay. Oh, you did? Spoon's so happy to hear that. What did you think? I think we'll go into a bunch of separate branches from this, and we'll be able to pull back into here. Let me make another dialogue line. Any other thoughts? So this is where we'll jump back to. And I'll put a note here. Make sure to set node to only play once if player isn't expected to come back into the tree and ask more questions. We have a few considerations to take into account here, which is that we have options, we have save choices that occur in many other places. We need to take those into account. We also need to well, that's the primary one. That's the most worrisome one. Let's put it that way. All right, I'm gonna pull these up. This font kills me. Okay, so Stenchus created the world from sewage. And the word globule is where the name of goblins comes from. I feel like that would be a good point to bring up. Like, you say Stenchus created the world from sewage. How exactly does that work? And we'll do another one. I don't think the word globule was the inspiration for the name goblin. Note here is where sewage informed a spoon. I want to kind of rewrite that a little bit. He took that sewage and formed it into a spoon. Yeah. Much better. With the sewage spoon, a long time ago, he gathered all the sewage together and created a world. This world is flat because sewage runs downhill. Sewage of the world runs off the edges, but Stenches gathers it all up and scoops it with his hands, which are spoons, puts the sewage back onto the world where it becomes rain. So, the world really is flat, huh? Sewage rain then falls back to the ground where it can be gobbled by every living thing in the world. Probably unliving things too if they can go. Okay, so I think that those choices will cover the introduction pretty well. I'm unsure of how we want to do this. If we want to start with the introduction and just go through, so all ends of the introduction kind of lead into then talking about chapter 1 questions. Hey, Bless 3D. Happy day. Wednesday. You too, thank you. I'm a little bit tired. My body's all fucked up from daylight savings. Okay. Sounds bad, but I feel you. I don't think it sounds bad. I think that sounds pretty nice. Two bros feeling each other up. What's more manly than that? Sim just created the world from sewage. How exactly does that work? I wonder if there's a... If we want to do something separate, if you already know about stenches. You've told me about stenches before. And now you say stenches created the world from sewage. How exactly does that work? So we'll do a separate response if the player hasn't heard about stenches. I think he tells it to you in the family section. Or, yeah. Have heard about stenches. Who exactly is this stenches? Have heard about stenches. False. True. And this will save. Has heard about stenches. True. Okay. I think we'll do it this way. Where your questions about the book will kind of go in order of the book. That way we don't have like this massive list of questions right away when you enter the dialogue tree. We'll start with the introduction stuff and then it'll kind of taper into the chapter 1 questions and then it'll keep going and going and going until it's finished. And then maybe we can do like some final thoughts on it all the way at the end of that. Well, these two are related because these are about Stenchus, and then these two are a bit separate. Let me copy some stuff. Alright, I'm fucking tired today. Well, it's as the book says. Stenchus is the god of sewers who designed us all to never be without a spoon. That's why we are all able to survive even if we do not have a proper spoon utensil on us. He created the world. He created the world and controls the weather and put us sewer goblins in charge of protecting everyone. Especially making sure they don't fall off the edges of the world. I'll hold on to that one. I'll keep that in the back of my pocket. And how exactly did he create the world from sewage? That'll lead into this response. You know how there's a bunch of sewage in the sky? You can see it you can see them glowing. at nighttime. You can see the globules. You mean the stars? And we also give you the option to just be like, sure. Yeah. The fuck's a star? Well, it's another world like ours. There might even be humans or goblins on it. You mean to say Stenchus created more worlds than ours? I wouldn't be surprised. He's a benevolent. Spoon wouldn't know the word benevolent. He's a very good god. Hey, Earpusk. First time I've seen this kind of dialogue system. Is this your personal code or an add-on asset from the marketplace? Sorry for your English. Your English was very good, so do not worry. This is Narrative Tales. Which can be obtained right here. It's called Narrative 3. They did update the title in the old marketplace to Narrative Tales, but this is what I'm using. And I do recommend it. RDR when released on PC after like 14 years. Hey, Claire Monk. Yeah, I saw that. How's it performing? That's pretty good. Thank you, Igor. It looks so comfortable. Yeah, it runs very well. The developers are very nice, and it's very expansive. It really allows you to do a lot with your dialogue if you're making like a deep RPG like we are, or if you're just making something simple, it also works for that too. And I think makes it a lot more legible than trying to do it through like data systems or whatnot. It works very well. Most people that are speedrun it and performs well. They limited FPS cap to 144. I guess the engine can't handle more than that. It's possible. I'm not so sure it was Stenchus that created them, or that it was from sewage. Old Rockstar games made for console, like Red Dead Redemption and GTA 4, had a lot of stuff tied to FPS because they knew they were going to limit it on console anyways. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty common method. And it still happens nowadays, too. It's not as common as you used to see it, though. That's exactly right, Spoon. Praise Stentious. Glad my book was able to educate you. Not many humans are capable of becoming educated. What a wild little goblin he is. Of course it was. Didn't you read the book? I do want there to be a couple of points where, you know, you can upset Spoon, although I don't know if I wanted to completely lock you out of this, or even worst case, make him hate you, unless at the end of this you can tell him just like, hey, that book was a load of nonsense, you're a fucking lunatic, get out of my sight. You know, I don't want to do that until it feels a bit more appropriate, especially not like so early on. I did read it. Maybe this part was just not to my taste. Well, it was worth a try. You can always read it again if you want to. You're right. It makes sense that Stentious created all of these worlds from sewage. The funny thing is, I'm almost using Spoon as a way to. Oh god, what's the accretion? Accretion. I'm almost, you know, Spoon is not too far off from how the universe was created. But he's also, at the same time, he's very far off. He's really close, but really far. And I think that's what makes him fun to talk to about it. Glad you understand that, human. Hmm. How do I want to lead this in? I think these 3 spots are pretty good to jump back and you could ask him about other things. I was trying to think of how we organize this because I was thinking we could do a rolling sort of response, but I would rather the player be able to come back if they want and ask these other things. And then when they're ready, they can move to, chapter 2 discussions. So I think if we wanted to do that, we need to have buttons here that will take the player back to this node. And we'll say whether or not the player has asked certain things. And then we'll have a final node here that will require you to have gone through this would be weird. This would be weird to do. I could do it though. I'm trying to think. I don't really want to prevent the player from asking questions about chapter, maybe they don't want to talk about anything in chapter 1. Maybe they only want to talk about chapter 2. Maybe it would be better to have chapter intros. So you could say like, oh, I have a question about chapter 1. I have a question about chapter 2. And then that will lead you into these. That is probably the better way of handling it. There was something in the introduction I wanted to talk about. Then there's what? There's 4 chapters? There's chapter 1, 2, 4, and 6. Wait. Introduction. Chapter 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. I feel like we should make this a separate dialogue loop. It's getting long. But I don't really want the hassle of doing it, so yeah, fuck it. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. My God, it scared me. It's been me all day though. I made that chili that I talked about. Crockpot chili. Yeah, here's my concern. There's gonna be a lot of stuff. There's gonna be a lot of dialogue here. I mean, if we do, let's say, theoretically 3 questions for every chapter, although I don't think every chapter needs it, you know, specifically 3 questions, but let's just say theoretically, this is gonna be fucking big. This will be our biggest dialogue tree to date from 1 question, which previously was held by talking about his family. Oh boy. Oh boy. I'll go ahead then. And then we'll do a jump back node with the text. Anything else from the intro? So this is where we'll jump back to when we reach the end of certain pieces here. Continue. Event. Begin dialogue. Lower loop, and then that'll jump back to here. Christ, it takes a long time to compile. You know, some of these nodes are really easy to I think some of these are okay if we wanted to go down them multiple times. Others, we need to be careful. If there's ever any point that we save a choice that shouldn't be overwritten or could be overwritten by the, some other choice, we need to make sure that those dialogue clusters are only enterable once. So I think that talking about like this stuff up here, it's fine. The only thing we save is learning about stenches, and yeah, it's fine. Not a big deal. There's a bunch of swoosh in the sky. You can see the globules glowing at nighttime. Those are globs of sewage and stenches. Grabbed a ton of them in order to make our world. What are you sending me through Spotify? Just most stuff on Spotify I can't play on stream. Those will get me muted. I will say though, by the way, when we make our soundtrack for Cauldron Chronicles, it will not have content ID. And that way, if you did want to play it on in like the background of a stream, or like a YouTube video, you could. The potion seller video, I've seen that. Don't worry, I've seen that many times. People sent me that because of Cauldron Chronicles. Wow, that's amazing, Spoon. That'll lead here. You ever written pathfinding? What, in like Engine? I've never needed to, just because Unreal has pathfinding built in. Throw it on a nav mesh. And then you have pathfinding in the world. And most things with collision will automatically adjust the nav mesh. Bunch of shit for Minecraft Pathfinder rewrite? That sounds fun. Not frustrating at all. I think those are stars, Spoon. Not sewage. And that can lead into the fuck's a star. Okay, that'll work. That's one section down. Intro. Stentious. Okay, what's the next one? I don't think the word globule was the inspiration for the name goblin. Yeah? What do you know about words, huh? Are you the gatekeeper of words and definitions? We'll just allow the player to say yes. I am the gatekeeper of words and definitions. Yes, that's me. The gatekeeper of words, definitions. Sounds wild, man. Pathfinding is crazy. I know Unity has a default Pathfinder, but if I remember correctly, it's really unoptimized. No, but these words are just completely different. What's he gonna say? He's gonna say, well, goblin has a G. Globule. He's gonna go through each letter. Goblin's got a G. And so does globule. Goblin's got an O. And so does globule. Goblin's got a B. And so does globule. Goblin's got an L. And so does globule. What about the I and the N? Compelling They just say, yeah, compelling evidence, Spoon. Truly compelling. But if you say, what about the I and the N? He's like, what about them? They don't matter. The other 50% of the letters do. Obviously, it's 4 out of 6 is not 50%. That's part of it. It's that Spoon's not very good. He thinks he's really good at math. All the sewer goblins think they're excellent at math. They think they understand it. They think humans are fucking stupid for how they use math. And it just turns out sewer goblins can't use math. How big is this file? I'm actually curious how big. One of these narrative assets is. 1.4 megabytes. That is how much our dialogue means. And as we know, the bigger the game, the better it is. So clearly my game is worth absolutely nothing. We sewer goblins are word. I was gonna use like word geniuses, but I kind of wanted to say something that doesn't sound smart. Smartest goblins in the land. Well, under the land, I guess. I'll do that. You mean the other 4 letters? In goblin? That would be 66%. Don't be correcting Spoon on math now. Won't end well for you, human. However, that'll take us through to back to the dialogue loop. So I made that chili last night. You know, because I'm trying to like just eat healthier. The problem is with chili is that I love it. It's way too tasty. And I just eat too much of it. I need, you know, if I'm going to be healthy and control my weight a bit more, I need to make something that is filling and just slightly not enjoyable. So that I know that I'm going to eat it, but I'm not going to like eating too much of it. Vegetables. That's what I need to eat, because I don't like vegetables. Don't need to control how much you eat, mainly what you eat. How much is important. It's about calories. They're both important, but really if you just cut back on calories, if you have a caloric deficit, you'll be okay. I mean, this is coming from somebody that's lost 32 kilograms before, so it's about caloric deficit. And being reasonable. Don't eat cookies or candy. Just don't do it. Well, I don't want to maintain. I need to lose weight. Maintaining weight's easier. Compelling evidence has been truly compelling. We figure out what's the smartest in the land. I can definitely see that. Physical activity and eating food that isn't calorically dense, you can't realistically gain much weight. Well, that's obvious, yeah. But if you are overeating and not getting very much exercise, you're probably going to gain weight because you are eating way too many calories a day. You just want to avoid muscle mass loss. And you can do that just by maintaining some level of fitness and having a caloric deficit. If you have certain healthy food, it's impossible, such hard to overeat. Well, yeah, but define healthy. And usually what it means is that it is filling and low in calories. Okay, that's me, the gatekeeper of words and definitions. He's gonna be a little bit gullible, like, wait, really? Yes, I was appointed. It's like something being dense in nutrients does not mean that it's going to help you necessarily lose weight. It's just going to help you be healthy. But if you want to lose weight, it's usually more optimal to eat something that's filling and low in calories. And because you want to have a caloric deficit, you're going to be eating generally probably less food than somebody who is not and is binge eating. So you should probably eat things that are nutritiously dense. That way you make up for any loss in the amount of food that you're eating. So if you want to lose weight eating pizza, you can lose weight eating pizza. It's not going to be the greatest, but yeah, you can do it. Just know that a slice of pizza is like 300 calories or more, depending on how thick and full of shit it is. It can be upwards of 500. You gotta be careful. Well, as omnivores, we don't need to get most of our water from food. We can just drink water. No, you weren't. There's no position like that. All right, all right. But I'm pretty sure those two words aren't connected. Well, of course, if you just satisfy your appetite through like high fiber, which is again why I was making chili, right? High in fiber. Yeah, of course you're gonna naturally lose weight because it's just like you won't feel the need to eat, which is good for people who binge eat, who constantly have that need, or when you're trying to train your body into being okay with less food, right? Because your stomach expands, so you need to kind of like train it to be okay with a little bit less. And those 2 weeks that it takes to adjust to that, they can be tough. So in those 2 weeks, just go straight fiber, and your body will probably be okay. It'll adjust. Oh, I fixed this. Okay. I have to get rid of all my make spoon nut. Make spoon nut effects and flavor. I did that. What is this one? Separate lower loop from encounters. Put lower loop into DT story. Jump between current encounter and lower loop. Okay, I fixed that too. That's like months old notes. No, but what I'm saying is that you can in general eat most of the things you used to eat apart from certain groups and maintain a caloric deficit with those same things. So if you were eating things that are considered unhealthy, like burgers and pizza before, it doesn't mean that you have to cut those out. Just eat less of it. And know that, you know, some things that are just a bunch of empty carbs are going to make it a little bit slower to lose weight, even if you have the caloric deficit, as opposed to if you just, and, you know, it could lead to loss of some muscle mass, as opposed to if you maintain some level of fitness and consumed higher amounts of, higher percentages of protein compared to your saturated fats or carbs. That'll lead here. I'm drawing it. Yeah, sauces have a lot of calories. People don't notice that. Sauces have a fuck ton of calories. Some of them. I think, salsa is relatively okay for amount of calories. But there's some sauces that are just... It's crazy when you look at how many calories are in them. It's like alcohol, some people, things that people drink. It's just like you don't consider the amount of calories in something like that. How much does like a regular ass Pepsi have? Pepsi calories. 155 in a 12-ounce can. Which is, what, this is 0.8. 28 fluid ounces. A regular ass Pepsi having, if you were trying to be in a caloric deficit, a regular ass Pepsi would have about 1/4 for most average people. 1/4 to, maybe a little bit less than that, for the amount of calories you should have in the whole day. Crazy. And drink water, coffee, and milk, yeah. Stick with diet sodas if you're gonna do it. Ever since I switched to diet many years ago, much better. That was the two things that I cut out when I was nearly 200 pounds was candy and regular sodas. And my weight went from I went here's me doing normal stuff, cutting out candy and sodas, and it was just like plummet. Now I don't really have a taste for candy anymore. Chocolate, sure. Cookies, sure. I like them, but you see Chubby Joey. Nah, I'm okay. I was like that. Too many heart and diabetes issues in my family for me to want to go down that road. I'm a ticking time bomb for that stuff, and I'd rather avoid it. You're 5'4" and 70 kilograms. It's pretty short. But muscular. Depends on the area of the world you're in, right, though? Because height differences between countries and cultures, races. I don't like the term. I fucking hate the term race, by the way. I hate the term. Humans are a race. Monkeys. Silverback gorillas. I just feel like humans as a race is kind of weird. I've gone down the very challenging nomenclature path of saying that it almost feels like we're closer to dog breeds, where all dogs are dogs, but because there are different breeds, that can co-bang, and then we create different breeds of dogs. Let's go down that controversial path. Rather than races, we have breeds. Humans as a concept sounds weird. Every time I write Spoon's lore, I kind of go off the deep end mentally. It's a good thing too, because you shouldn't be the person in charge. Well, whatever. But I don't believe Globule and Goblin are connected. I think it would be way better if we would be like dogs. Dogs don't judge. I agree with you. I think anytime anybody starts for me, anytime somebody starts talking about race, I just have this reaction of, what does it matter? Can we just not, like, I'm just tired of it. It's funny that we judge us by actions and ourselves by our thoughts. Bless their D, in my opinion, I feel like we tend to judge other people more by their thoughts and their properties than we do about their actions. I would rather just judge people for their actions than judge them for their thoughts or who they look like. Globule and Goblin. Lack of violence? I don't know if there's a lack of violence. I don't know about you, but at least the country where I'm from, there are plenty of interesting news articles about violence with ideologies. An action to share your thoughts is already go through the person's filters to consider what they can and cannot say. I mean, you're right, it is an action to share your thoughts. Though I feel like that is maybe the least important action in some ways compared to direct action. Maybe it's important is not the right word. It's the least difficult to just like go on Twitter and just type some shit in and press post. You know, it's easy to say, yeah, we should be helping homeless people. It's I think much less likely that people actually help homeless people. I don't know if that makes sense. What the lack of violence, people are only willing to be mean because they don't have fear. Maybe, although I'm not sure if... I'm not sure if fear is the only or the best... gatekeeper to violence, or the best control for it. I think people are mean because of fear. If you don't have fear and don't have a reason to be mean, that's also a good argument. That is a very good argument. Yeah, let's do this. Is it connected? No. I just like having a small room in bad events or like throwing a bouncy ball really hard side. See, bouncy balls are fun. Bad events, not necessarily so much so. It's a long time in life. Mean to others and myself, and had to learn that lesson the hard way. I think that happens, though. You know, maybe there's a time. I think that it happens often for people in their younger years. 100%. Although I don't think that it always goes away when you get later in years. So I never really want to judge people harshly for being kind of dumb kids. I can tell you're after your mid-20s. I don't know. Whatever. Whatever. You know, high school kids are just trying to understand the world as much as adults, and they tend to gravitate towards extremist sides more because it's easier to understand for people who don't know much about the world, in my opinion. I know that's maybe a hot take. So, you know, kids being a little bit extreme or a little bit blind or simplistic, it's like, whatever. You know, everybody goes through that phase. You gotta learn. What I don't think there's any excuse for is kids that are, like, committing crimes. You know, going out and, like, rioting, looting, destroying property. Because that's an action with a direct consequence as opposed to saying, like, I don't like insert people. Like, yeah, it's not the greatest thing to say that. But if you're not breaking the laws, if you're not fucking with somebody, then, I don't know. You're allowed to have bad opinions. Your opinion on gender dysphoria amongst young people? I think that there are people who genuinely have it and might genuinely feel better by changing their lives in some way. And I think that there are other kids who probably just don't fit into one category as easily, like a bit more feminine men or a bit more masculine women. And I think that they get sold on this on this new fad ideology when really they're just slightly more butch or slightly more femme. Who really cares? I think there's a lot of money that's being made right now off of this sort of counterculture, as it has been in decades before. I think people should do what they can do to be happy as long as it doesn't negatively affect others around them. But I'm not a fan of fads like this that could have long-lasting impact as opposed to just wearing different clothes. There's no problem to that. It doesn't affect you long-term if you just want to try different clothes. If you want to dress up as a girl for a while and see how it feels, yeah, go for it. And if you realize, oh, this isn't for me later on, you can switch back. No problem. But medical interventions, things like that, surgeries, those can be permanent or even dangerous in some cases. I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. So the world really is flat, huh? As flat as me mum. That should open up some dialogue lines. For me, most of the time, I judge them on things I don't like on myself, so I judge myself by their behaviors, and that's what made me angry, because society is a mirror of yourself. I think for some people, I mean, I don't know if I have that problem, although I think that I might have had that problem before. Nowadays, I mean, everybody judges people. I think that you have to be an absolute ego asshole to say that you don't judge people, but for me, as the world gets more extreme, I just become, I don't know, maybe a bit more... I don't know. I spend less time online, and I tend to become less confident in humanity to some extent. I don't know how to put it. I'm not pessimistic about society, but I think that we are doing this to ourselves. That there's this innate human nature that things like social media are fueling, and it's not allowing us to evolve. I think it is enabling us to devolve. It's an interesting piece of fact about your family. Pretty sure the world isn't flat. Can you react to this? What is it? Have you seen DBZ? No. I don't watch Dragon Ball. I don't hate Dragon Ball, I just don't watch Dragon Ball. Not my thing. Oh, then watch it. I think it's kind of like, okay, it's just like, it's not my type of show. I don't know. I'm not into like endless fighting and stuff. I think I would enjoy regular Dragon Ball more than DBZ or like anything modern, because I was a fan of original Naruto a little bit more than Shippuden. I was one of those weirdos. We can react to stuff once we're done with writing. We have a lot to write today. I'm only on my third question from the introduction paragraph. And then we have chapter 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. We have a lot to do. Your mom is flat. Your mom is flat. I guess we can just talk about breasts for a second with Spoon. Crazy flat human. Actually, we sewer goblins are sewer goblins usually don't have large chests like you humans. I guess we're gonna have a breast conversation with Spoon. You only live your life to the best of your knowledge and belief. It doesn't help anyone if you feel bad for things you're not actively involved in. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that, I don't know, people are always seeking meaning in their life, and I think that there's not one answer to that. There might be multiple things that are worth doing in your life, and one of them is, as you said, living life to the best of your knowledge. Difficult to draw the line at what point you are guilty yourself. For example, ordering cheap clothes from China or eating the cheapest meat. And I think everyone has to decide for themselves. Yeah, I think that there's... If we held up a mirror to everybody's life, everyone would just be, you know, let's just say sinners, if we want to use that term, either religiously or non-religiously. Judging other people for it or feeling bad for it, I don't think helps as much as being conscious about it. You know, at a certain point, you don't have choices, right? Like somebody who's really poor, do they really have a choice, right? Is it their fault that they're this way and have to buy clothes from China or from places where they have sweatshops? Or is it more of a consequence of people who have made this choice that have the control over it? I would say the latter. We're always a mirror to everyone. Society reflects itself. Yeah, I think so. What I try to do is just be a net positive force on the world. So yeah, I do some shitty things. I say and do things I don't like. But you know, if there's an opportunity to pick something up that's dropped on the floor, there's an opportunity to hold the door open, let somebody else cross the street, you know, do the nice things that make people smile and feel happy in their day-to-day. I kind of believe that that gets passed on. That if I do that, that'll encourage that person to do it for somebody else, and for somebody else, and that one for somebody else. And eventually it's going to come back to me. And when I drop something on the floor, or I need the door held open for me, that somebody's going to do that for me. And we all get born without asking if we want to, and we all die. It sounds like something, you know, I would read in Calvin and Hobbes. As they're sledding down a hill. Fucking love that comic. What are some of the excuses that flat earthers use that we could use for... Okay, hold on. I need ChatGPT for a second. Wait. Flat Earth Society website. They must have a website, right? Oh yeah, they do. Okay. Flat Earth resources. Wiki. Oh, perfect. I need to be convinced. Yeah, ships appear to sink. What's their excuse for why ships appear to sink? Oh, they have some images that aren't available. I used to believe anyone is legit. I hold the door open for someone, I immediately feel better because I also like this kind of attention and making someone's day better with a small gesture. Sometimes costs so little. It's almost as if I'm holding the door open for myself at that moment. Yeah, I also like it too. I think that, you know, just the other day I was at the store and some girl was, you know, she probably should have grabbed a cart or a whatever the fuck, a basket, and she didn't, and she dropped some chocolate on the floor, and I picked it up for her, and she smiled, and it was nice. You know, it was just like that one interaction is better than a massive amount of positive interactions on the internet, because I actually felt like it was in the moment and it was physical, it was real. I don't know, I'm gonna become one of those old millennials that just is like shitting on the internet even though I grew up and use it every single day. Now can we please focus and read about flat earth theory? God damn. Okay, can I just have like a TLDR Don't open the what is real and don't discussion. Okay, so they say it's because just like an artist, where you have that vanishing point, that it's actually just because it's getting further away from you and is smaller, and it's not because it's going beyond the horizon or something. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, that's a really good one. Spoon has seen ships sail into the distance, and they're just getting smaller. Also, those ships always come back, meaning that the world is flat because they don't fall off. It's like our math for... Yeah, I mean, this is just perfect for Spoon. Ice wall. Hold on, can I... Much better. What the fuck is this? This wiki. What the fuck? The outer edge of the Earth is bounded by an ice wall. This wall prevents the oceans from spilling over the side of the Earth. Alright, sure. You know what's funny too is in our game, I'm gonna make one of the arguments that you can actually just see this planet out in the distance. Like Spoon, what? You can see a planet. If you don't get this, don't ever talk to me. It is unknown whether the ice extends outward forever or there is an actual boundary to the plane upon which the Earth resides. In a minority of flat Earth models, the ice wall is very difficult to reach and may be guarded by groups conspiring to maintain the commonly accepted round Earth model. Okay, Spoon can see the planet, but the flat side is perfectly facing us, just as Stentius intended. Okay, where was the one on the... the moon phases? God, they even have a page on the lunar eclipse. Crazy. I want the phases. Phases of the moon. What is their excuse for the phases of the moon? When one observes the phases of the moon, he is simply observing the moon's day and night. You know, the funny thing is too, that because YouTube creates transcripts of videos, I think they're actually going to put a little label underneath the video of this on YouTube to warn people that... a flat earth theory, which is pretty funny. Would it really change your life if the Earth were a disk? For me, nothing. My job would be the same and I would still be living the same life. It would only change it because all the physics in our world would absolutely be torn asunder. But if you just want to be like, you know, I'll humor you in that, yeah, it wouldn't change anything. When one observes the phase of the moon, he is simply observing the moon's day and night. A natural shadow from the sun illuminating half of the spherical moon at... Did they mean to use that word? Did they mean to say spherical? A natural shadow from the sun illuminating half of the spherical moon at any one time. The lunar phases vary cyclically according to the changing geometry of the moon and sun, which are constantly wobbling up and down and exchange altitudes as they rotate around the North Pole. When the moon and sun are at the same altitude, one half of the lunar surface is illuminated and pointing towards the sun. Wait, the sun and moon are wobbling? I can't even visualize what they're trying to say. When the moon is below the sun's altitude, the moon is dark and a new moon occurs. What does this look like? The phase you see varies depending on your location on Earth. Damn it. Yeah, how do they explain gravity? In the flat Earth model, gravity, rather than being a force, is the upward acceleration of the Earth. The Earth always accelerates upward at 1g, which is equivalent to the gravitational acceleration in the round Earth model. Like the force of gravity, the Earth's acceleration causes several commonly observed phenomena in our daily lives. Universal acceleration is a theory of gravity within the flat Earth model. The traditional theory of gravity is incompatible with the flat Earth model because it requires a large spherical mass pulling objects uniformly towards its center. Rather than a downward pull due to the presence of mass, the theory of universal acceleration asserts that the roughly disc-shaped Earth is accelerating upward at a constant rate. This produces the effect commonly referred to as, quote, gravity. Earth is an elevator, yeah. But we're going up to heaven. See, if we're going down, that would be like a elevator in Terraria. Completely Earth is spinning or moving around the universe because you'd feel it, but Earth being an elevator, no one could feel it. This is this is something, alright? This is absolutely something. Pretty good. Can we just send up all of the flat earthers into Starship? The free-falling object. Assuming there is no drag, an object leaving the Earth's surface will undergo inertial motion until the accelerating Earth catches it. In our frame of reference, the object looks as if it's falling to the ground. What the fuck? Wait. In the flat Earth universe, I like how it's like an anime fandom. Gravitation exists in other celestial bodies, not gravity. The gravitational pull of the stars, for example, causes observable tidal effects on Earth. Why does gravity vary with altitude? The moon and stars have a slight gravitational pull. So how come Earth doesn't and just moves upwards, but the moon and stars now suddenly are able to affect the things around them? Oh my god. If the world was really flat, what would happen if you jump off the disk's edge? In the general model, you would become directly affected by dark energy, as the Earth is, creating the illusion that you are standing next to Earth. Wow. Earth does not generate a gravitational field, but everything else does. Wait, how is it that the Earth does not have a gravitational pull, but stars and the moon do? This argument is a non sequitur. You might as well ask, how is it that snakes do not have legs, but dogs and cats do? Snakes are not dogs or cats. The Earth is not a star or the moon. It does not follow that each must have exactly the properties of the others and no more. Oh, I need Spoon to say this. I need Spoon to say something like this. Flat earthers hate this image. I absolutely need this. There's no question about it. The flat Earth, the sun doesn't set, it just moves further and further away, so illuminating the underside of clouds can't be done, but it does. Isn't it because it bends around the atmosphere? Professor Mark Fonstadt of Southwest Texas University. Is there a reason why we have professors who believe in flat Earth theory? That's a new one for me. The conspiracy. Wait. The conspiracy is the blanket term most commonly used by proponents of zetetism to refer to the active faking of space travel. It is most associated with the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA, its constituents and fellow so-called space agencies, as well as those who are informed by them. They have proof that the Mars missions are fake. The Earth is an LED bulb. NASA, what the fuck? What? NASA browns out the skies in its NASA imagery. Like, none of these are... Oh, shit. NASA Mars Expedition Fraud. Free Mind Society. I don't want to live on this planet anymore. Disc. The uploader seems to be unable to understand that the colors seen under a blue sky or under white artificial light aren't the same as seen under a pink sky. Oh, so he just doesn't understand atmospheres at all, okay. Chinese space hoax. Well, you know, to be honest, those might be real. Like, some of these might be real. The lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse occurs about twice a year when a satellite of the sun passes between the sun and moon. The satellite is called the shadow object. This just sounds like anime. Orbital plane is tilted at an angle of about 5 degrees, 10 feet. Joke. The sun's orbital plane. What? The fuck is the shadow object? Wait. So they think that this shadow object that moves in front of the moon is 5 to 10 miles in diameter. What? I can't anymore. I can't read this. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't. I'm done with Flat Earth. I just need to write this lore about Flat Earth. I'm officially dumb now. Why wouldn't it be? Why doesn't Spoon believe that the Earth is spoon-shaped? Because of the sins of humans, Stenchus flattened. The Earth was originally spoon-shaped, and Stenchus flattened it as punishment for the sins of humanity. And now the sewer goblins must live in this world that the humans screwed up. It's like the Garden of Eden, right? So like it was perfect before, but then Eve got like really hungry and ate a fucking apple because she's an asshole, and then ruined it for the rest of us. Look forward to the part of the map where you can just look at the handle of the spoon like Halo. I have really low energy today. I don't know what it is. The moon phase, yeah. Well, you can watch ships sail into the horizon. And disappear. There's a planet in the sky, quite large, and you can see it. See, it's spherical. Tides of the ocean caused by the gravitational pull of the moon. These will be like the 3 things that you can say to him, and because he already believes that the water does fall off, but Stenchus scoops it up and, you know, pours it back over the world as rain. So it's not really gonna work on him that he would say that Oh my god. I feel like I need a nap or something, I don't know. Maybe I'll get done with this world is flat thing and I don't know, we'll play a game or something. I just need a break. It's not good for me to do creative work when I'm like really fucking tired like this. Which has spoon-shaped items that are super awkward to use, but he's convinced that with all his items like his hat, his backpack, his walking stick, his dagger, it makes much more sense that way for some weird reason. Put water in a spoon and put small spoon in it, pointing north. He kind of is like that, where he calls spoons and unconventional spoons, such as shovels, bowls, shoes. Oh god, where is it? Ladles, shells. These are all unconventional spoons. He later has a rant about spoons. Where is it? Is it in dialogue 6? No. Where does he do it? He has a whole rant about it. Oh, here it is. You convince him to sell commemorative spoons, and he jumps into a whole monologue about how he's going to monetize the selling of spoons. You know, he talks about like a sense of pride and accomplishment. Limited time spoons, premium spoon currency, gold spoons. You know, FOMO. Loot boxes with spoons inside of them. Spoon rarities. Spoon trading. Build your own spoons. Making up shady deals to sell spoons when really they're not a deal at all. A stamp system, so basically a pity system. Daily spoons. He goes through it all. At some point it comes out that Spoon was beaten with a wooden spoon as a child and it affected him so much that he always thought spoons were so overpowering. Looked to his tormentor for the redemption and security that the world never gave him. That would have been a good path to go down. We wrote something a little bit different than that, but that would have been a funny path. I will say that. Three options. I like smaller... What am I writing? I like smaller breasts, personally. I'm a fan of bigger breasts. I think all breasts are loved by someone out there in the world. Spoon cup of breasts. Why is this even, why am I doing this? What is this dialogue? What is your choice, chat? Which one's your choice? 1, 2, or 3? Smaller breasts, bigger breasts, or all breasts are the same? Somebody out there likes them. You're a 3 person? I'm a 3 person too. I lean one way more than the other, but I don't think people should be worried about it. The thing that I hate too is that it's usually like media aimed at women, though not always, that make them feel uncomfortable. But it doesn't matter. You're a butt person? So I'm shaped. I think I didn't have a co-determination in the process. I like if you say I like smaller breasts personally, just like you like goblins then. The ladies are all a bunch of flat fuckers. You get to decide what color your skin has. Say that to Michael Jackson. Hey, Siddharth. I don't like that you can basically just say, no, I don't think the world is flat. I do want you to be able to agree with him. Maybe we'll put it over here. I think the world is flat too. Just makes sense. Dragon Age Veilguard would never have this kind of dialogue in their game. Ooh, it would be too unsafe. You're doing dialogue layout? Yeah, I'm working on some responses to the lore book that you can obtain from Spoon, where he talks about flat Earth theory, sewage, math, and how humans don't understand math. Sporks, he talks about sporks as well. And he provides some good wisdom for people. Wisdom such as, within every spoon is poon. I don't know what to do with the S. Or, the spoons of yesterday are dry, but the spoons of today are not dry. Riveting content. Watch some YouTube videos, people still believe the Earth is flat. I mean, I'll tell you this, of all the things that people can believe in, of all the ideologies and hatred that I see, I gotta admit, flat Earth theory is pretty tame. Doesn't really bother anybody. Like, oh, that's kind of crazy. And then you go on with your life. I like you to Spoon. I think that'll jump back to here. Who knows if the world really exists and things just don't get rendered in your FOV. Yeah, the world has nanite enabled, so it's very efficient with choline. Why don't people have critical thinking and learn about it? There's knowledge everywhere nowadays. I think it's maybe like a reactionary. It's like a safety mechanism. Where the moment you have to consider the fact that you don't know very much, you feel vulnerable. Which can be a sign of weakness in animals. So it's much safer to defiantly pretend that you know what you're talking about than it is to consider the idea that you might be wrong. And I think that everybody is, to some extent, doing that. All of us included. Maybe not as much as others, maybe in different areas than other people, but we probably do it too. I don't know. Some behavioral psychologist can correct me on that one. I like behavioral psychology, but I don't know. I just like it from a it's interesting sort of thing. I'm a physician. We're all wrong. Everyone lives his own reality. The only thing that is always is the moment. Yeah, everybody does have their own reality. Okay, I need to finish up talking about breasts with Spoon. To Can you get me a sewer? Can you get me a sewer goblin mate? How did we come this far with Spoon's death? I don't know, dude. Spoon is just so degenerate and fucked up that I think he just brings this out in us. Absolutely, I'll get you a fresh piece of lady meat. I'll get you a fresh piece of meat. Are you into boy or girl goblins? Or maybe one so fucked up physically that you can't tell. I imagine they have a lot of inbreeding and mutants down there. What is this dialogue? What am I doing? I am a gardener type of writer. I sow the seeds and I let them grow as they need to. The seed was as flat as me mum, and I'll just let that blossom into a talk about mutant boy-girl golems. Maybe there are femboys. I don't know. Maybe there are femboy goblins. You guys will like that. When I say the character is like that, I've tried to put myself in Spoon's shoes, but Spoon wouldn't be like he is without us. Spoon is just an undiscovered part of us. A bit like the chicken or egg debate. Spoon is all of us. We're all Spoon. Mutants for sure. I want someone that can excite me. Plenty to choose from then. Common sight down in the depths of the sewers. I look forward to meeting it one day. That's what I'm into, is fucked up mutant goblins with weird body parts. All goblins are beautiful. How can you hate them? You need to have more body positivity. No, I have body negativity. You have those moments in your life where you have those sayings from your parents from the past in your head and think, now I understand. Here's what I think. I think that as a child, you look at your parents in two ways: that they don't understand, but also that they seem to know a lot more than you. And I think when you grow up, you realize that they do understand, but they don't know. They don't know as much as they really. It's like they're just trying to do their best. Like, you don't magically turn 30 and are like, oh, yep, I get it now. I know exactly what to do in every situation. And anything that my child has a problem with, I will be able to solve it. It's like, no, they're immature. They're a little fucked up, but they're trying their best. Not they knew everything because they said it with such confidence, yeah. And you realize they were only confident because they needed to be, or they were just exasperated because being an adult is fucking exhausting. Like, just, yes, this thing is this way because, yes, because of this. That's what it is. That's what it is. You understand? Good. Now let's not talk about it. Eat your fucking macaroni and cheese. My parents didn't say that, but, you know, that's kind of like in their mind. I imagine that a lot of the time that's just what they're thinking. They're like, it's almost 8 p.m. It's almost your bedtime. I just need you to go to sleep so I can turn on the TV and I can just die, okay? Because for some reason your school starts at 6:30 p.m. in the morning. Actually, when did school start? I think school started for like at 7:30. When did school start in the US? When does school start in the US? Clock. Yeah. 7:30 a.m. ends around 3 p.m. That's fucked up, dude. That's fucked up. You know, most adults work 9 to 5. In what fucking world do I think it's okay for kids to be waking up that early in the morning? Especially when kids need a lot of sleep, right? Because they're growing, like their body's growing, it needs a lot of sleep and rest. So like it begins at 7:30, so when are they expected to wake up at like 6:30 to 7? So of course, as a parent, you need to be ready too, because what am I going to do? You know, I need about an hour in the morning to get ready. I eat, I you know, clean myself. And I do that at a relatively leisurely, but still stable pace. So if my kid has to wake up at 6:30 to 7 to do their shit, you know, shower and get ready and go to school, and I need to watch over them to make sure they're doing it somewhat. When the fuck do I have to wake up? 5? Nah. That's stupid. 7:30 starting for school is stupid. Call me crazy. And here's the thing too, you know, if most people's jobs end at like 4 to 5 p.m., usually in the US it's like 5 p.m. Well, what am I supposed to do? Now the kid gets out of school and I haven't even finished work yet. You know what it should be? What it should be in the US is it should be like 9:30. Well, what is it? It's 7:30 to 3, so what? That's like 7.5 hours, right? Minus 30 for lunch. So 7 hours of work. Yeah, it's pretty normal, right? It should start a little bit later and end a little bit later after 5, so that way you can get off of work and be there to pick up your kid when it's done. I think about how parents today usually work full-time and then have kids on top of that with hobbies and household finances. Dude, how are two people supposed to manage so much? Yeah, I don't get it either. It's just, it's not working. Back when we used to pay, you know, one person, usually the man in most cases, enough to support a house and family, it worked. You know, and I am a bit of a proponent of a nuclear family. I don't care who has to be the bread earner, but I liked when we were paying families enough to sustain themselves, and so somebody could stay at home and watch the kids. Work halftime and chill as much as possible. I think that's enough. Dude, kind of same. Commuted to the other end of the country for half a year. I got up at 4:30 to catch the earliest plane. Jesus Christ. I wake up at 7:30. I think that's pretty good for me. Go to bed around 11. Wake up at 7:30. 11 to 11:30. You know, but if I have to push to midnight, it's fine. I can still get a good 7 hours of sleep. You'll love 'em, human. Almost as much as I love the flat world. Your school starts at 8, and from grade 1 and up, most kids are expected to be able to get to school on their own, either by walking or biking. When school ends, there's after school daycare, and they can usually get home on their own. If the parents need to pick them up, the after school thing ends at 5. I do like, you know, I lived in a town where it was very easy for me to walk to all schools or to bike. I really like that. Although, you know, US is a lot more rural, so buses are kind of a necessity. I know that my dad liked to drop me off to school, especially in high school, and I really like that. Even though I could walk to school, it was nice because it was bonding time. I appreciated that. I need... Pretty sure the world isn't flat, though. Plus, for the rural kids too, but I often see kids biking along country roads as well to get to the nearest town to get to school. Gives them a lot of independence. Independence is good, but I also agree with like what Bless3D is saying, where I think because the changes to the family structure, a lot of kids are growing up without their parents around. And I'm not a fan of that. I don't know. I think parenting has become quite difficult due to time constraints and the fall of the nuclear family, or the destruction of the nuclear family. I don't know how we fix that. Country roads have bike lanes. Even like the Netherlands. Country with like more bikes. Denmark, probably pretty similar then, right? With just the number of bikes and support for bikes. My family is a bit Danish. We have Danish ancestry. Never been to Denmark though. Denmark and Netherlands are quite similar. We'll have to visit one day. What's Danish food like? A lot of fish, like similar to like the Nordic, Norway, Sweden, Finland. A lot of pork, really. Huh. Danish dishes. 8 traditional Danish foods you really shouldn't miss. Cookies. Well, also yes. Okay, so European sandwiches. Essentially. Hot dog. I mean, every country's got hot dogs. Every country's doing hot dogs. Pastries, of course. Yeah, pastries are great. I need more photos. Not enough meat. This kind of looks actually quite quite like Central European to me in a lot of cases. This feels like something that could exist in Germany as well. Hey, True Nightmare. This looks yummy. I don't know what this is. Some sort of meat and potatoes or something. Peeled potatoes. Is Denmark north of Germany? Yeah, it is. Fried pork served with white parsley sauce. Ooh, parsley sauce is tasty. I do like parsley sauce. That would be good. Yeah, this would be yummy. I'd eat the shit out of this. These little savory pies, little meat pies or something. It's weird, but a lot of this almost looks like a mix between... Well, I mean, it makes sense, but it's like Central Europe, a little bit of Norway or Sweden, and a little bit of like UK as well. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just like this interesting mix of the continent and the islands. Or the peninsulas in some cases. Tartlets, they're stolen from the French, but very traditionally eaten in Denmark. They're puff pastry with white sauce with chicken, carrots, and white asparagus. Yeah, see, that sounds to me like a good old chicken pot pie. Although you can put any meat in there. But with chicken pot pies, you have that closed top like that. Although I'm sure that the tartlets would taste the same just without the top kind of thing. Like a nice white gravy sauce, usually with carrots and peas, and then meat, onions. Sometimes you can put like some celery in there too. More liquidy than chicken pot pie, but yes, okay. I'm sure it would taste good though. I would eat the shit out of that. Too much green. Pass. Something about this feels off. Like the breaded chicken should be hot, but the lettuce isn't going to be hot, and this is probably cold. Doesn't work. Oh, it's fish? Breaded fish? Okay, that makes sense. I'm a chicken person. Look at a Danish hot dog. Danish hot dog. The fuck is this? Like pickles? It's just raw cucumber. The fuck is this? Sliced pickles. You know, my fiance would probably love this. I'm a bratwurst person. I'm sorry, and I don't really do sauces and stuff, so it's just like, just give me this. Ooh, yeah, just give me that. Mmm. I'm a bratwurst kind of guy. Also, I mean, kielbasa is also really good. Kielbasa tasty too. Nice cooked kielbasa. Station Athletic with everything has ketchup, mustard, remoulade, raw onions, fried crispy onions, and pickles. A lot of vegetables. I'd probably like some of this more than I think I would. You know, there's that, I guess there's the whole, you didn't like it in your childhood or your parents didn't like it, so you didn't like it, of course. Because if your parents never had it and they thought it was gross, you mimicked them and you thought it was gross. Or you didn't like it as a kid and you just kind of think that you'll never like it as an adult because you never liked it as a kid. There's been stuff like that with me. Like, my mom didn't like cabbage, so I didn't really eat much cabbage. And I didn't like sauerkraut, and that's kind of like one of the main forms of cabbage that you find in Wisconsin, where I grew up. Because it's there's a lot of German influence. Then I moved to Poland, and it's like, holy shit, no, actually cabbage is really tasty. I just didn't like I didn't like sauerkraut. It's probably similar cases like that. Okay, connect these up. I appreciate you trying to hook me up, but I'm pretty sure the world isn't flat. You know, we should have options for saying that you're not attracted to goblins. I shouldn't assume that people wanna fuck goblins. I'm gonna be honest. Hot take. Found out that when people talk about mushrooms, we really only have one mushroom, just at different stages of its life. So now I only know that I hate that mushroom, not all mushrooms. I think mushrooms too can depend on what way they're made. I didn't like mushrooms as a kid, but now if you gave me like a mushroom soup, fuck yeah. What I really don't like is like the slimy cooked mushrooms. I don't like that. I want mushrooms with a bit of texture to them, and I don't like feeling like I'm chewing on something that's slimy. It just, I can't do that texture. I don't know what type it is, though, that is like that. All I know is that some of them are slimy, some of them have texture. And I want that, a bit of crunch to it, I guess. Almost impossible to burn mushrooms. Don't challenge me. Ooh. Ooh. Roasted mushrooms with the balsamic and soy. Those actually look really good. Balsamic and garlic soy. Okay, hold on. Well, I just gotta send this to someone. Getting ideas here. Buy some button mushrooms and throw them in pans. See if you can burn them. I'm not gonna try to burn mushrooms. I think my fiance's gonna come in and be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Oh, just Twitch chat. You know, give me a challenge here. Isn't it that a period of 7 years all cells in your body get replaced at least once? So you can try every 7 years a bit of stuff you didn't like. Tomorrow he says his house burned down. Yeah, I come in and like just half my hair is burnt. My face is melted. I look like Harvey Two-Face. So you guys, it turns out you can burn mushrooms. Oops. Not really into goblins personally. goblins. Goblins. I'll let you know if that changes. This bit of dialogue is a little bit complex, isn't it? And goblin those nuts. Ha 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 ha. We have that here. Mind goblins. Mind goblin these nuts, human? Fucking gotcha. Draw his sword. No, because we don't have swords in our game. Were you here for that? There was somebody trying to say that they wanted swords. They wanted me to add swords into the game because they think the game would be better with swords. I'm into boy goblins. It'd be better if the kid was Skyrim. We have some spicy young lads ready for your every desire. Bit ugly. But that just means they won't cheat on you. There's a part of all of us in Spoon. Sounds like just my thing. You say, I'm into girl goblins. He goes, me too, me too. The way they take a shit is just marvelous. It's just incredible. It's a sight to behold. I'm never getting a publisher. I should just accept it. I'm not getting a after writing stuff like this, I'm not getting a publisher. I'm talking about sewer goblin. I can't. I'm just not gonna explain it. I'm not gonna explain it, okay? This is a character. If you don't like it, you can get him killed, okay? I'll take your word for it that the sight of a sewer goblin female shitting is an enjoyable sight. What is this game that I just tuned into? Hey, Shadow's thoughts. Well, see, based on your name, I feel like this is exactly right up your alley. Very questionable things in the dialogue. Okay, so Spoon is a sewer goblin. He believes in the flat earth theory. Now, he gives you a book where he talks a bit more about the flat earth. You can talk to him about that. he responds as flat as me mum, and for some reason the player can say your mom is flat, question mark. And he then talks about how most sewer goblins are pretty flat in their chest. And so I guess I, for some reason, wanted to make it so that you could... I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Sounds shitty, not so much, but irrelevant games. Irrelevant games are. Flirting? I mean, I don't know what I'm doing. We're talking about flat earth theory, about sewer goblin religion, how he thinks that the word globule was the inspiration for the word goblin, flat chest theory. He tells you he can hook you up with sewer goblins, he just wants to know what you like. You know, boy, girl goblins, or maybe ones that are so fucked up physically that you can't tell. I don't even know anymore. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a bit disappointed in myself, to be honest. The overall game outside of flat goblin riz. Okay, so the game itself is an open world fantasy alchemy game where you can go around collect ingredients, make potions, fight enemies with your potions, and I want to delve a bit deeper into RPG systems for the NPCs where you can have these deep conversations. You can have occasionally deep conversations with the NPCs and influence them, or, you know, learn things from them from the dialogue, as opposed to simply being a shopkeeping game where, here, I need health potion, okay, here's health potion, here's your gold, next. You know, this is more of an RPG where all the NPCs that you'll meet are named, unique, handwritten individuals, and based on the potions you do or don't give them, or the things you say or don't say to them, could change their fate in a much more, like, deeper RPG sense. It's a goblin flirting game. It's only a goblin flirting game because the first NPC we added was a sewer goblin. And I've gone a bit too overboard with his lore. It's gotten out of hand. Chapter 1. What is spoon? A spoon is not just for eating. A spoon is for more than eating. A spoon is for things apart from eating, like scooping. Scooping can be done with spoons too. So, spoons, why do we have them? Spoons are materials shaped to look like hands, but you have to look closely. Spoons, like hands, can scoop things. Best for liquids, but can also be solids. That is chapter 1 of... part of chapter 1 of the book that Spoon, the sewer goblin, can give you. Later he gets into math, and, you know, that's very specific. He also gives you a recipe for a big shite. And then talks about goblin math. This is a game. This is a, of all the games to exist, this is certainly one of them. I was inspired by Concord. 1 + 1 = 7, and 7 + 7 = 4. That checks out. It actually makes sense. There is logic to it. If you want to use that word, that is a 5-letter word that you could use to describe the math. Is it sensical? No. But honestly, if you do not understand it after such a simple explanation, there is no hope for you. You were stupid, best off yourself, mate. Okay, I'm a fan of bigger breasts. What would be his response to it? Well, I'm not. They just get in the way of everything. At this on point, we worked on that 2 hours yesterday. Disgusted with stupid human tits. Yeah, you're right, he would be. You disgusting humans have such massive breasts that I can barely see into the faces of some of your females when looking up at them, because he's short. Not that I'd want to, because they're usually ugly. Spoon is confirmed a small breast enjoyer. It's like a paywall for him to see faces. Gotta find me a place to stash the body. So I take it you're a small breast enjoyer then, Spoon. What is this? Why am I doing this? On stream? Well, hey. If they don't ban people for supporting terrorists on this platform, I doubt they're gonna ban me for writing about breasts. You're more likely bannable. I'm writing about them. Meanwhile, there's sections on this platform that just have them out in the open. Let me try to archive. Your white dude you could ban first. Probably true. Probably true. It is kind of weird, right? Because if you play a game like a mature game with nudity in it, you won't get banned. But if I were to make a game with nudity in it, even if it's something that is like considered a bit more tasteful or just not a porn game, I would probably get banned. It's a little weird. So like somebody could stream Witcher 3, but somebody could not stream the development of Witcher 3 if they were like working on the brothel scenes. Yeah, I'm not talking about like a porn game, but actually just a game with some nudity in it. Like Baldur's Gate 3 or something. Actually, Witcher 1 had collectible Pokemon cards with nude women on it. That has something to do with the auto 18 filter that gets put on games. Like Witcher 3. But software and game development category doesn't automatically apply that. I mean, probably true, right? I kind of wish that I could set it. Yeah, if could you... But I don't think you can set it to 18+. I can set sexual themes. Should I set sexual themes? I should, actually. There, now I won't get banned. I think if you accidentally miss a tag and you didn't, like, intend to, Twitch would automatically apply it sometimes. If, like, a moderator comes around and sees it. If you were constantly breaking that tag, though, they would probably get... That's where they would get upset. I could use more frustrations from the... Absolutely. More pleasing to my beady little eyes. And easier to fit in my hands. Can't imagine they human moderate every channel. I can imagine that they do have human moderators, because if they had AI moderators, it would probably be less ridiculous than the humans they have in charge of moderating Twitch at the moment. What a dialogue option to come to. How you doing, Lacy Fangs? Yeah, this is breast. Yeah, this, I don't know. It speaks for itself. It's how we as humanity made such things up that some parts of our bodies are forbidden. It is weird. It's a little bit childish. I can appreciate modesty, but I also don't think that we always look at human bodies in the most mature way. Very childish sometimes. This is made on a bias, mostly left-leaning, which means it would never have a centric view, which is what you would expect. If you can explain... I don't know, if you try to have conversations with like ChatGPT and try to have centrist views, it's usually understanding of it, but will it give you those views immediately? No. Can we open that left-right thing? Put the back in the fridge, please. I'm tired of sides, personally. Center is also a side these days. Is it though? Categories for division. True. True. And then they all say, oh, our side's the sides of unity and healing. But absolutely fuck those racist assholes on the other side. We will never be friends with them. I need to somehow lead into these. I'll do this and I'll stick with large breasts, but you're right that the world is flat. That is a real dialogue option in my game, by the way. Just so you know. If you were on the fence about buying my game, hopefully this convinces you. We're seeking $4 million in funding, by the way, from publishers. Telling bodies we act childishly about all sorts of information. LLMs are the best examples of how on rails they are getting more and more. Yeah, we need to teach critical thinking to kids. Have you guys seen those videos of kids just having absolutely no knowledge of the outside world at all? And I don't think it's exclusive to the United States, but I think it is exclusive to generations of kids growing up in Western societies. Idiocracy was a prophecy. I mean, I'm not gonna say that I'm like super smart, but it's like, come on, like basic knowledge. Like, can you name 5 countries? Like, what 2 countries does the U.S. border? And some kids don't know. It's like, really? Come on. Come on. I was mentioning to make it a R16 or R18 game. I think it would turn it into a mature rated game for ESRB. Peggy, I don't know. It wouldn't make it adult only. Mentioning tits does not make your game adult only. Michigan and Florida. Florida's, you know, there are a few states that do sometimes feel like their own countries. Florida does feel like one of those, California as well. People in Washington, D.C. like to act, like politicians like to act like they are from some elite country. Half her game is now tit. No, it's not half. Might have been a better joke answer. I mean, I like Florida, I like Texas, I like parts of California. I've been to DC. I mean, it's a really pretty capital in a lot of ways, but I don't know. This was a long time ago too. Not been to America. If you visit America, don't visit the big cities that people often want to visit. I know it seems tempting, like, oh, New York, oh my God, Los Angeles. Don't do it. Go to Chicago. Chicago's like New York, but cheaper and less smelly. Just don't leave downtown. Go to Vegas. Yeah, I've heard Vegas is actually kind of cool. Get a pizza. I'm not a fan of cities. If you go to, I think there's some really, hold on. If I had to recommend places, strippers and gambling. Spoilers, I'm in Katowice. Dox myself here. Kentucky and Tennessee are very underrated. And they're quite pretty. Louisville and Nashville, I think, are quite nice. Don't go to Baltimore. And if you don't know why, just watch The Wire. If you like the wilderness, getting into some places in Montana are just absolutely beautiful. I heard Charlotte's pretty decent. Pick a thing you want to do rather than decide by state. That's true. Don't need to fly over the pond to see it. Got a mate in Georgia. I've been to Atlanta. Atlanta was not that great, in my opinion. But other parts of Georgia probably are pretty nice. Yeah, Atlanta's kind of shite. Dallas. Dallas is pretty cool. I do recommend Texas. Texas is a lot more green too than people think. North Texas is quite green. Alabama's where a spoon comes from. I mean, he could come from there. Colorado's pretty nice too. If you like hunting, wilderness, hard to go wrong in like North Wisconsin. Got some beautiful forests out here. Pretty chill little cities. Good fishing too. Fishing, especially if you get to like Lake Michigan or Superior. Although Superior is a little bit harder to reach, but you can easily get to Lake Michigan and go out in some boats and do some freshwater fishing. And there's a lot of boats too that go between like Milwaukee and Grand Rapids and Chicago. But I definitely recommend, I don't know, if you're a big drinker of like bourbon, getting out to Louisville is pretty damn great. I like downtown Louisville. Well, that's a weird location. Yeah, Louisville's nice. I would recommend it. Pretty cool. And a lot of bourbon. Speaking of bourbon, I wish I had bourbon. Only bourbon I have right now at home is a little bit of Buffalo Trace that's left. Okay, we need to get those finished up. He's a bridge. Yeah, it's nice there. I could sleep there for free. Now you're talking. I don't think I've had bourbon. Bourbon's tasty. It's very sweet, but you can get some really good notes in it. How many on the team? Mostly it's just me, but there's also a combat designer who's been helping out in his free time, and a programmer who's been helping out. We have no artist yet. What was I gonna write here for this response? Disgusting humans. I don't think large breasts are disgusting, but to each their own, I suppose. Not everyone can be as enlightened. It's true. Back to the original topic. I'm not sure the world is flat. The team is a practical joker. Give a call a long time ago, not enough ups for the downs of how my body feels the next day. Yeah. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. I love mulled wine. But a little bit too much of it, not the greatest. It's not MOLD, it's mulled wine. You're from the UK, don't they have mulled wine in UK? It's like hot spiced wine. Maybe you call it something different. Throw some nice cinnamon, anise, cloves, nutmeg. Often people do orange. And then you add some sugar to it and sweeten it up. Tasty as hell. Very easy and cheap to make. Pure crap so no one goes. See, here in Poland you can get mulled wine already bottled. You can buy bottles of this. So it's all ready. You just have to throw it into a pot and put it on, low heat. You don't want it to boil because it'll boil off the alcohol. And it's just ready to drink. And it's fucking cheap. It is like €4, 3 to 4 euros for a bottle of this stuff for 1 liter. 12 to 14% alcohol because it's wine. And there's lots of different flavors and brands of it. Chili. This one's actually pretty decent. I do like the chili one. If you ever come to Poland, I'll get you some. Got the last piece I need last night to start a batch of Dr. Pepper mead. Now that sounds interesting. What do you think about the word enlightenment? I always find it kind of funny because enlightenment is supposed to be the freeing from all ideas, yet enlightenment itself is an idea or concept. I always imagine it's like a beginner's explanation designed to hook people in. My opinion on enlightenment is this. It cannot be obtained. Real enlightenment cannot be obtained because it, in some ways, assumes that you can transcend human error and instinct. And I think that it's actually, it's something that you shouldn't try to achieve in life. Because it's not achievable, and I don't think it necessarily makes you a better person. But then again, the definition of enlightenment is all over the place. I just don't think that it's right to try to achieve something that, in the end, for some definitions would mean you have become better. I don't know how to put it. Maybe I don't know if it makes sense what I'm saying. Probably doesn't. I'll say it like this. You guys know Mass Effect 3. If you don't, and you don't want spoilers, cover your ears for a few minutes. In Mass Effect 3, there's a ending where you can merge AI with, AI with humans. It's the green ending. That's the flavor of ending, the color of ending. And it's supposed to mean that now humans don't have to think about like war and fighting because they just understand everything. I fucking hate that ending. That's like an enlightenment ending. And now you've removed everything that gives consciousness and freedom of choice. You've just removed it. Like now you don't have humans, you don't have Turians or Quarians anymore. You just have this same like universal being that never disagrees or has issues because they were now designed not to be. And I don't like that. That feels like it's a... You just sign up when you'll be playing Veilguard. I need to buy more Jaeger. I think I'll play it on release time. It should be tomorrow at 5 p.m. is when the game releases. I will have to download it. I don't think it'll take too terribly long. So we'll see. I think I could probably go live at 4:35 and we could have like a little pre-stream, and then I'll download it and we can start it up. Just I'll be streaming. Don't worry, the VODs will be up on YouTube afterwards. That means that you now believe what the other person wanted you to believe. I don't know. Enlightenment is an interesting concept to me. I just don't think that it can ever be reached because I don't think it's possible to reach enlightenment. Or at least some definitions of it. Okay, I think all breasts are loved by someone out there in the world. You know? That's probably true. Maybe it's best we don't fight over what's in the front, but instead what's in the back. I'm gonna set all the wokeness around that game. It just doesn't look good. I'm trying to stay away from everything relating to Dragon Age Veilguard that I've seen, and there's a lot. And I'm just gonna go into it, and we'll see. I've seen a few of the things. It doesn't look great. Then again, I wasn't terribly happy with how Baldur's Gate 3 presented some of its writing. So we'll see if it's similar to that or if it's... I don't know. Don't look at their mouths while they speak. Oh, is the lip sync bad? Oh. That's not really what I meant, but okay. Exactly. You don't like Baldur's Gate 3 and I can't mention going to like what I've seen of Dragon Age Cringe Guard. I'll state exactly my problems with specifically the writing of dialogue, not like choices, but dialogue in Baldur's Gate. Number one, characters were way too horny, and I like horniness. I just don't want it to be so upfront. You know, I want it to be earned horniness. Like I want to be led on a bit, and then you can give me the horny. And it was just like you meet characters and they instantly want to fuck you, and it's like it just doesn't feel realistic. They don't feel like real characters. They don't feel like real people. And the thing was really, really cool. Have you played D&D? I know that it's the problem with D&D is that the people playing it sometimes. Hot take. I get it. I get that it's pretty ill or accurate to D&D, but also I'm looking for something more like Mass Effect, where yes, the characters are horny, but they're horny after you've earned it. That it's like first they are interesting characters, then they're horny. And in Baldur's Gate 3, it was first they're horny, sometimes then they're really good characters, and other times they're just, they mean nothing. They're really shallow. And I didn't like that the characters were main character sexual, because it felt like when they were talking to you, they weren't... It's like an important piece of the English language, and I'm sure this was also the case in other languages too, especially gender languages, where it felt like they weren't referring to me as a person. Like sometimes there's the way that like a man will talk to another man, a girl will talk to another girl, or a man will talk to a girl will talk to a man, that there's universally some ways that we like to be flirted with that are based on our gender, on our sex. Either synonym works here, that was just absent in this case. Wasn't a big fan of that. Hard when you create your own character. Yeah, I mean, I like that I can romance anyone. At the same time, I like when the dialogue makes sense for the genders in that romance, because it just adds a little bit more to it. You know, if I am playing as a gay man and I'm romancing some gay character, I would just kind of like to hear that. If I'm playing, a straight guy and I'm romancing a girl, I would like to be able to have some flirting that's based on that, because that's just more realistic to me. Something to put a lot of those lines to be gender specific is a lot on top of what was already a lot of dialogue. That's true. Yeah, you're right about that. Or because characters can't say your name. That too, yeah. Like it was nice in Mass Effect because you were just Shepard. You were just Shepard, and they could use that, and the romances were specific. So, you would sometimes be referred to as man, as a girl in those cases. I don't know, it just felt better. It just felt better. Even if it wasn't as branching as some other games are, it just felt better. And also, I didn't like a lot of the story in Baldur's Gate. A lot of the character writing and story were very, very messy. It was not a very super well written CRPG when you compare it to other CRPGs on the market. Spoon knows what Spoon wants. Should make a game where chat means something. I'm trying. It may not work, right? You know, the design might be rejected by people, or just may not be as fun as I think it would be. I'm not a fan of the formulaic way that dialogue was presented in Baldur's Gate 3 with characters. And in a lot of cases, their lack of backstory. Like Shadowheart, you know, obviously has a lot of backstory. Lae'zel has a lot, but because both of these characters have entire sections of the game that are dedicated to them, whereas other characters didn't really feel that way. Some characters got a lot better treatment than others. And you could tell that they were like, oh, well, most players are simping over Shadowheart and Astarion, so that's where we're going to put most of our effort into. And other characters were just like, eh. Meh. And you'd think that a game taking place in the Forgotten Realms, where there's a lot of lore, there's a lot of backstory, they would actually explain some of this to people. But it was kind of like they assumed that people playing the game would have already known about the Forgotten Realms. True. And so when I'm talking to characters, a lot of times they just don't tell me that much about them.
FBI, open up!
Thank you, guys. Most characters these days don't have much to say. It didn't really seem like they were ever trying to challenge my morals and my ethics in that game. There were very few points where I stopped and was like, I don't know what the right thing to do here is. It was mostly a case of either you help people, which is kind of universally seen as a good thing in Baldur's Gate 3, or you don't help them. That's it. That's it. If you help people, you get good endings for them. If you don't help them, most of the time it's a bad ending. The only time that I can remember that was actually somewhat memorable in terms of morality, and I didn't know what the right thing to do was helping that woman who had sacrificed her baby to try to get her husband back, and at the end you have the wand, you can choose to snap it or give it to her. You know, that was a question of helping her doesn't necessarily heal her, not helping her causes her more pain, but is probably better in the long term. And it's like, well, I don't know what's right. That's almost a BioWare formula. I don't think so, Lazy Fangs, although it kind of is. I did like that there were hard choices in, like, Mass Effect, for instance, where to some extent helping the Solarians seems like the wrong way to get the Krogans to assist. Krogan Dilemma. There was also the Quarians and the Geth, which I think was fantastic. You know, and it was a case of you don't want to help, you need to find a way to mediate. You are a mediator in a lot of cases rather than just insert help, receive reward kind of thing. The whole ending mechanic, if you don't interact with them, they kind of die. Got a unique ending for that woman. For which one? If you want to play D&D at some point, I can run Dragon of Icebeard Peak, the beginner's campaign, which is set in the Forgotten Realms. I need time for that. And I think I need a stable life and job for that. We don't make any money doing this. One for the baby. A unique ending for the baby? What are you talking about? I'm getting really off track here. Not the witch to kill her brothers, and when we first met the lady told her the truth. She then wanted nothing to do with the witch. But did it impact anything with the end? The game was pretty lacking in terms of an epilogue. That's what I mean. It's like, were you... Okay, I won't say anything. Just know that I will just say this. The game didn't have any epilogue before. Now it does. It's better with the epilogue. It was really, really disappointing my first playthrough, though, where you beat the game and it just kind of ends. And you don't even have any, like, the Mass Effect style, Fallout style ending cards where you get told what happened to the world and the people that you met. I will say, though, Act 3 for me was pretty disappointing. Ending cinematics should be unlockable with money. Look, and I'm not saying that I think it was a bad game. I just don't think that it is a 10 out of 10 game. I played a lot of CRPGs, a lot of RPGs. And combat, great. Larian's always been pretty good with that. Ending, rushed. First act, best. Some characters, good, some bad. A lot of choices meant nothing. Too horny. 7 out of 10. I'm really good, but deny players the best pieces and force them to pay. I cannot wait for the review of somebody who said that they got all the NPCs killed and complained that the game didn't have enough content or wasn't very interesting to them. I know it's going to happen. It's not going to be many people. It's going to be like 1 or 2 people, but it will happen. Like, oh, I killed all the NPCs and now I didn't have anybody that I could talk to. Shocking how that happens. Can main character die? I mean, I'm sure there will be... Yes. You can't die permanently. You just would have to reload. You know, I like how the flat earthers say that there is no gravity. It's just the world moving up at a constant rate. But that doesn't really make sense of why things accelerate faster to a point. I would love to see them explain acceleration if that's what they believe. Like, you know, where something reaches critical velocity. Okay, I've written the responses for breast size discussions. Now I can actually talk about his theories of the flat Earth. Okay, why wouldn't the Earth be flat? Well, you can watch ships sail into the horizon and disappear. So what if I place a baby sewer goblin on the... What would the name of a baby goblin be? Gobber? Kit? I was gonna call it a gobloin. Gobber's pretty good. Goblet. A goblet. Okay, I like goblet. I like goblet. If I place a little sewer goblet fresh out of the womb spoon on the ground, and I abandon it and walk away, it gets smaller and smaller. Ships do the same thing. They're just far away from you, so you don't see them easily. If I abandon and walk away, am I a bad father? No, you're just seeing if the world is flat. Did you grind Clash of Clans back in the day? No, I didn't. I've never played Clash of Clans. I don't really like the mobile games with a whole bunch of like PvP bullshit. I'm an idle player. Get me playing the idle single player games all day, every day. Multiplayer game? Fuck that. Fuck that shit. I don't like negative progress in my games. I'm gonna be honest. You got Clash of Clans Goblin. Look, it was free, okay? I'm trying to think of how I want to do this. I don't want to fight in, but man, you think someone will go through this lore and be like, bro, I already avoid this flat earthers in real life. Why do I have to fight them now in game? I'm hoping that there's this little bit of exasperation that players get when they talk to Spoon and he starts talking about the flat earth. Like, can we just not? After that combo, I would avoid this character for hell. I mean, you don't have to ask him this. You can just say, you don't have to say, ask him, so the world is really flat. Really is flat, huh? You just talk to him about other things. Like, maybe you want to talk to him about the math, right? About how... Or about his recipe for a big shite. 1. Eat a lot. 2.1. Do not drink a lot. 2.2. Do not die. 2.3. When you feel like you must shite, you have to push. 2.6. Do not die from pushing. 2.7. You should now have a big shite, just don't let it hit the ground. He talks about if it hits the ground, it loses its power. This is for worshipping. No popo here. Maybe you want to know why 8 plus 8 equals 1094. Although he'll probably tell you that you're just stupid that you don't get it. That he explained it perfectly well and he's not going to explain it to you again. Or why sporks are fucking abominations in his eyes. There's a planet in the sky, quite large. You can see it spherical. The planet is flat too. Stentious in all of his amazingness and beauty aimed it so that it perfectly it's perfectly visible to us. No joke, seen flat earthers say, yeah, exactly. What? I'm really curious what happens if I were to... just put an empty node here that leads... Well, no, because it would... Well, maybe not. We can always test it. Seen the ice wall? I have seen the ice wall theory. Spoilers, it's pretty dumb. Surprise, surprise. We also saw the theory that the moon and stars have a gravitational pull which affects the tides, but the Earth does not. And Yeah, how is it that the Earth does not have a gravitational pull but the stars and moon do? Their answer was, this argument is a non sequitur. You might as well ask, how is it that snakes do not have legs, but dogs and cats do? Snakes are not dogs or cats. The Earth is not a star or the moon. It does not follow that each must have exactly the properties of the others and no more. And I had to include it. A response like that. Just really don't want to say you're wrong because you feel safe with your sphere. Yeah, I like Earth-chan. Well, actually, Earth-chan is flat. Yeah, I think they specifically made Earth-chan flat as a meme. So canonically, Earth-chan does not have large breasts because she's flat. Minecraft is flat, so Earth gotta be. Ties the ocean caused by the gravitational pull of the moon. No, they're caused by Stenchus bumping the world as he scoops up the water falling off when he creates rain. He's a little clumsy. But his clumsiness allows us to have ships and tides. Perfect. Alright, we can always talk about it again if you wish. Never heard of it. You guys are great. I was wondering if I should take my green screen home for streaming Dragon Age. But it's really big. It is really big. It is the Elgato Green Screen XL, whatever the fuck they call it. It doesn't look like it, but it is. It doesn't fold down. It's basically just this long piece of metal that this does go down into. Yeah, I'm gonna use NVIDIA Broadcast, but it's still not most perfect. I can only use it from home because I certainly couldn't use it from this computer, sadly. 215. Should take you back here, right? Yeah. These should be 215 as well. Yeah. Okay. Make no face cam. We know you do. Don't make this action just to put your face on top of a game. I think you need to see my reactions to Dragon Age Veilguard to appreciate it. I think that is a necessity. You need to see me cringing. Now he mentioned Stenchus a few times. We can't assume that the player knows that much about Stenchus yet. So I need to put in some fail-safes. This is what values are for. Well, yeah, we do that all. Every place where there's green, we save a choice and then we check it. I just need to put it in here when we specifically mention Stenchus. Trust me, we use a lot of them. A lot of conditions based on choices. Especially in later dialogues. We might do multiple checks. I thought he mentioned Stenchus around here somewhere. Maybe it was up here in the Globule and Goblin. I mean, there is Stenchus mentioned here and here. But I could have sworn I mentioned Stenchus somewhere around the breasts. Maybe not. Have you seen any of Black Ops 6? No, I haven't really been paying attention to Call of Duty for the last 10 years. Because that's about when they stopped making good games. And I don't imagine that the new one is any different. Pink guns. Wow. I miss Battlefield. I miss when Battlefield was good. See, Battlefield 1 was the last, I would say the last good Battlefield game. Battlefield 3 was great. I liked Battlefield 4 after some of the changes. Battlefield 1, I liked. And I think there's still a pretty big player base for Battlefield 1 nowadays. These are a little awkward with how they're placed. Oh, you prefer squad style games? Yeah, you would have really enjoyed Battlefield then. Because that's exactly about it. Battlefield was all about having a good squad and playing objectives. And it wasn't just fucking deathmatch. Although I really liked, I forget what the Battlefield game modes. Conquest was the main one. I really liked Rush. Rush was a really fun game mode that I played mostly Rush. Which was that there's attackers and defenders, and defenders have an initial point that they defend, so usually like two points, and the attackers try to fight it with limited tickets, and then if the attackers could take those 2 points, the defenders have to fall back, but the attackers get more tickets, and that usually goes like 2 or 3 times until there's like one primary. It was really hectic and great, but it was very like streamlined, so you had all the players in a much smaller bit of the map as opposed to Conquest, which was just a large open map. That was good. Sniping in Battlefield? Yeah, sniping in Battlefield was really fun. I mostly played Rush. And Battlefield 4 had some really, really, really good Rush maps. But there was something about Battlefield 1 with the trenches and mustard gas that was just... I don't know, it was so good. When it worked in Battlefield 1, it worked really well. Running around in the smoke and gas-filled trenches with your gas mask on and just shotgunning enemies. And I think a lot of the weapon skins too in Battlefield 1 they didn't feel immersion breaking. From what I remember, most of the weapon skins felt like they fit within the universe very well. And so you didn't have people running around with like pink guns, making it feel like it was just kind of lame. Had every knife, 3 surface stars in Battlefield 3. Battlefield 1 vehicles were pretty nice. I think the vehicles and map design were top notch. Yeah, I agree. I think vehicles, I agree with you. Map design and vehicles were great. I liked too that they were openly incorporating experimental weapons in the game, so it felt like Battlefield 1, but it also felt really fresh that we were seeing weapons that they've never shown before in either Battlefield or Call of Duty. And the usage of the map changing, like the game changing events that occur for the losing team, so like giving them the blimp or the train mounted gun, were I think really cool. Battlefield 4 was sort of off-putting. The helis was something you had to work around. Although I loved sniping helis with RPGs. I made that like the main focus of my gameplay. Like there's the 120 kills, no deaths. I may not have gotten the highest kills in most of my Battlefield games, but I was almost always in the top 3, usually top 1 person, or points. Mainly because I played medic, and I was a fucking good medic. I mean, really, it's not hard to be really good in Battlefield if you just play objectives well. It's really not hard. Yeah, if you're good at holding a position and you have a good squad leader, you can end up with the most points very, very easily. And that always felt good. Operation Whiteout? Battlefield also had some of the best Easter eggs. Their DLCs were good. By the way, the DLC trailers for Battlefield 1 were exceptional. Battlefield 1 trailer. What was the They Shall Not Pass one? That one was pretty good. There was the one with the French, which normally, you know, the French wouldn't be something that I celebrate, but the... Oh yeah, that was the They Shall Not Pass one, right? This was so good. This map, by the way, was amazing. This map was so good. Oh, God, these maps. I miss this game.
Allons, enfants de la patrie.
French people!
Aux armes, citoyens. Entendez-vous dans les campagnes.
But it was like for me, after Battlefield 3 and 4, which were like futuristic in some ways, especially Battlefield 4 was kind of like that near futurism, and Call of Duty at the time was going full on futuristic. This game really, really capitalized on people's desire for, we just want a game that feels fresh, but goes back to a war that we've already experienced. And I think that this did it absolutely perfectly.
Entendez-vous dans les campagnes.
It felt authentic, you know?
Ces féroces soldats. Ils ne passeront pas.
Brilliant there, by the way. This map. I fucking loved this map. This map was so good. It was hard, though. You were fighting uphill with barely any cover as the fire's raging around. Oh, that was such a good DLC. Why not everyone going nuts because there was a woman in the trailer? It was only for a short period, though. And I think it was with the... Was it with the Apocalypse? With the Russian DLC? I think most people were praising it because it was in the name of the Tsar, the Russian DLC where they had the female snipers. I don't remember this. This was good shit though. Okay, we added one section. And I already feel exhausted. I'm just not good at writing this. I'm so slow and it just exhausts me writing dialogue. I don't know how to put it. Alright, let me go to the bathroom. And we'll see if I want to continue doing this today, or if I'm just going to be like, you know what? Let's just play a game. Oh boy. I can at least write the questions that we can get to on the future development days. So let me go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. Enjoy the music. And you know what? You can enjoy the map too. In all of its boxed glory. Motherfuckers not realizing women can participate. Well, it was not common for women to participate on the front lines in Battlefield 1. Although of course, later on, I think that's ridiculous to complain about. What I liked with Battlefield 1 is that they included women in a historically accurate way. Which was in the Russian DLC. You know, I just like when it's accurate, right? When it doesn't feel forced, where it's like, okay, this is an interesting piece of history that we can capitalize on. You know, and make something interesting in the game because of it. I appreciate that. Because it felt like they actually cared about the product they were trying to make, as opposed to just insert thing because thing is good. Okay, I'm gonna jump over to old school RuneScape. I just need to relax a bit today and take a breath. I was up really late and I don't know. I just need a break. I don't know. I don't want to burn myself out of writing dialogue, and I'm gonna do it if I force myself to do it today. So we're just gonna take a break. That's fine. We did 4 hours of writing. The problem is 4 hours of writing dialogue, and this is how much I can write. I don't know, I'm really bad at it. Thankfully, when we make the full game, I won't be the person having to do this. Thank God. I've never been a fast writer, though. It is what it is. Alright, so I'm closing that on the YouTube recording there. I understand if you guys want to, like, bump out because it's not game development. But if you want to stick around, we can just casually chat and you can watch me probably die to a boss. Do I need any of this? Not really. Okay, so if you're watching on YouTube, thanks for watching that, and it's going to be a little bit of a while before we get to more Cauldron Chronicles. Maybe I'll make a small video stating that so that you guys can be aware that it's going to be a little while. But we're looking to get to some in mid-November, and that's going to give me a lot of time to plan things with the combat designer so that we are on the same page with potions. So it's probably a good thing that I'm taking a break from that so that we can get aligned and do some planning, maybe make some documentation that's needed, because potion combat is very, very, very important. It's very big. And if we aren't aligned on what that needs to look like or how it needs to feel, that's not going to help us make a good prototype. So keep that in mind. But if you're watching on YouTube, I will see you back on Cauldron Chronicles in quite a while. And if you're watching on Twitch, stick around, and we're just going to relax and play some stuff for the rest of the day. All right. Bye-bye, YouTube. See you in a while. I'll miss you.